that was definitely that moment where I realized how I would feel when I got a project like that. I knew, personally, and that was one of those catapults out of the thinking that commercial illustration was going to be it because it paid so much, and I was like, I'm going to have to give up a lot of this money in order to be able to sleep at night. So.
Good moment. That's what she
So
did.
that's
Jules?
I've known for a very long time that I'm a woman. So the comic book thing doesn't remind me necessarily. I'm always thinking about how I'm a black woman. But I will say this, that the Boondocks has been a huge influence on me, and I ended up being really critical of the Boondocks, specifically because of the women characters, or the female characters. I thought that they, and this is not to diss Aaron Magruder. Again, I use a lot of inspiration from his books, but I just felt like, man, I wish there was strong female characters, and I am not seeing that. And every black woman around me is strong and brilliant and smart, and I really wanted to see that represented. So, again, part of the impulse for even creating Afrocentric is, thinking about race, gender, and representation. So, I think about that when I write my characters, and I get inspiration from the real world. So, it's not necessarily that I didn't know that I was a woman. This is something that I was already thinking about, right? And for anyone that's interested in, creating your own work, I think it's really important to be true to, thinking about even the diversity that you have within your own community and writing that into your work, right? Whether it's a superhero or not. So that's where I come from in terms of being a woman.
Okay. Well, staying along that vein, because over the past year there have been a few incidences that have happened in the mainstream media in regards to women's portrayals in comic books, to female cosplayers portraying certain characters. So I just want to get into what are your thoughts on some of these things, such as the consent movement, which is harassment towards cosplayers, male and female as well as the fake geek girl movement, which suggests that girls that are into comics are really not, they're just doing it for the attention. And I know I sent you a few articles, but you may have heard of a few things out there. Aletha. I'm just picking on you today.
That one alone, because I have no idea. I don't know what I think about that. I like looking at all the pretty costumes, and we've all seen the Wonder Woman, the man, and I think he would get harassed more than anyone else. Because that's just.
And they have. Men have.
Yes, and that giant Batman and all that stuff with the belly hanging out. You haven't seen him? Oh, at cons, he's special. I like that. He came up and right at the belly. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Yes. So all these ladies, I hear these stories after the fact that they've been harassed at the various cons, and it's like it takes everything in me not to go, when I see one of them come up with a big belly hanging out, or ask them, what do you do?
You did?
No, I didn't. You think I'm crazy? I haven't lost my mind yet. No. So I feel bad that that's happening to people, because I think we're all here to enjoy the work. I don't know why it's not more about the art, the enjoyment of the art, and the reading of the art, because that's the only way to keep it alive. We're a shrinking industry. If you've noticed, they're getting smaller and smaller. Books are starting to fade away. You're going to comic book stores, and it's filled with old people. There's no readership, and they're not putting out comics that my son can read. I look at half of them and I'm like, oh, put that away. No. So I think we are a little too concerned, maybe, what's on our backs and not opening up enough books to keep us all enjoying what we're wearing out in public, whether you be giant Batman or that sleek little, those little tight little girls that just make me jealous, yes.
Jules?
So the question is, what do I think about the harassment in terms
different
of
incidences that have happened over the past year?
I mean, it's really unfortunate that the harassment that occurs, but that is just a microcosm of the world. I mean, unfortunately, right? I've been really impressed with a couple of different comics that I've seen, even like tackling the issue. I don't know if you've all seen this, there's like this Muslim superhero woman. I don't know
Roberta Avenger.
Yeah.
Roberta Avenger.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, I would like to see more things like that. I mean, you know, it doesn't always have to be so literal, but I really applaud, you know, folks that are thinking about even the things that we're talking about, you know, getting harassed. It may not look exactly like that, but, you know, it's really important to even have characters in the comic book world that actually, like, fight off. I mean, if we can't do it in real life, right? Might as well do it in comic book life, right?
That's true. That's true. So what's the resolution? Because essentially we are talking about sexism and discrimination. What's the resolution? You can jump in at any time.
What's the answer to patriarchy? That's a really tough question. I don't know if we have enough space for that up here.
Well, we can still talk about it a little bit. I mean, what's the resolution?
I mean, if some of them are writers or talk to writers, just tell their story, tell the truth, tell what's going on, and you know.
That's us up here. That's why we're up here now.
Yeah, that we're even bringing it up, and all these people are listening. That's one.
I don't know the resolution. I mean, I don't have the answer. It's the meaning of life.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
But when I was doing it, you know, when I was, you know, active and had a comic strip going, I felt it was my obligation to put the truth out there and what was going on and what the reality of when sometimes people don't realize they're being sexist or racist or, you know, and when given that opportunity to sit there and talk about it and put it out there and have people read it and ponder it and, you know, just give some folks food for thought, you know, was a way to do it. It didn't resolve a thing, but I was trying. That was my attempt. Yeah.
Alisa?
No. Next question.
Next question? Okay, you get the next question. Okay, in terms of the profession as well as what we read, why is it important to diversify comics?
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, really. Just for you.
Why is it important to diversify comics? I guess everyone wants to see a reflection of himself in comics overall. And we need more stuff to read in general because it gets boring. I don't know about you, but after I've read Batman, and then Batman The Dark Knight, and then Batman, I just read Dark Victory, and then I think there might be Batman, What Happened in the Morning. I read it's not the same comic book. So when I go to find something new, then I get to see, and I start reading Superman, and what's a All-Star Superman, and then this other Superman did that. And I realize it's just the same things over and over and over on endless repeat. I personally want to see diversity because I've been reading comics my whole life and they haven't changed in the least. The most they think they're changing is now, oh, guess what? We're going to make Spider-Man.
My book, that's all I'm saying.
This is also self-funded. I just recently quit my job last year to do this full-time. Tried to save as much as I could, so I'll come by the table.
And when she said that, the first thought in my mind was, I have to fix this, you know, somehow. So I'm wondering if you ever had that aha moment, that moment where you saw like a child or someone out in the actual world where you thought, I have to change this any way I can.
I'm sorry, I did it again. But I was just going to say that in my strip, I did deal with that. And one of the things was, like I said, it had 9 characters, and they were just heads. and I had all different kinds of hair textures. I couldn't mess with skin tones because it was black and white, and I just had electric tone. That was what I had to do. But they had different features, and I did have one character who was very fair and long hair, and she resented it. You know, she's like, we call this good hair. Let's see how we got this good hair. It came from, you know, my slave masters raping, you know, my ancestors. I mean, just to talk about it, just to recognize that we all are different, and that we need to talk about it and make sure that all of our little black girls feel like, I am beautiful, you know, whatever it is, you know. And I did try to deal with that in my strip.
When I was young, I also went to a school that, you know, in the beginning when I was around that age, 7, I did not have one freckle on my face, and it wasn't all that diverse. And of course, I wanted my hair straight. And I wrote a comic about how I wanted freckles. Like, I picked freckles for some reason. I've never had a freckle before in my life. They're all over my face now, and I prayed that I would have them. And here they are. And I have a love-hate relationship with them because I know where it comes from, and I write stories about them. So I'm hoping to select some of my work that is good for children, because not all of my life experiences are appropriate for children's reading. But this is also why I was hesitant about working on the perm product. Just because I already had the experience of not feeling good enough, not feeling pretty enough, and then I go and do this project, and then I can't sleep at night. So I'm also working on those struggles as well. I don't think there's one answer. I think it's just all of us writing about it. Like what Barbara was saying, we have to talk about it. So, good luck.
2 or 3 years, Storm gets a miniseries. She does not get a monthly. Is that because of the industry or the consumers? You see, I have daughters who are now mothers, and I have granddaughters, and they know I'm in the comics, especially the granddaughters. And they say, well, where's the black Supergirl? You know, or the black Wonder Woman? And I try to explain to them, you have Storm in the Marvel universe.
They have at least one, right?
As I said, this is for all of you on the panel, all 5 of you. If you can give me your concept or impressions on that. Thank you.
Well, I can't totally speak for the mainstream, but I know definitely for sure if we as consumers want to see more of certain books, we have to contact that company, that writer, that creator, or whoever, and send letters continuously. And if they get enough letters, they will do more books. But Aletha may be able to speak on that a little bit better than me, but...
No comment.
You have no comment? Okay.
Please. No, please. I really like to know.
Start me on my storm rant. I have a storm rant all on its own. I don't understand why they do that to my beloved Storm. Just because. I don't know why. Look, first she was with Forge, and we all know that. That's where I started my storm rant. Then you marry her to this Black Panther character. I love Black Panther, by the way, but when did they ever meet? And how old is he? You see, I can keep going here. Now I'm way off the topic because I'm going to get out of my soapbox. Somebody else. This is just not right. I don't know what to do with these characters. There's not that they're listed. Comic books are created very, very quickly. We don't have a lot of time. I think when you sit down and you write your independent book, you think about it. It's a lot more thought process. A monthly is just that. You're just knocking it out. You're trying to get it quickly. You want the story to be cohesive. You want to try to make everybody happy without offending anyone. And believe me, everyone has an opinion, and they'll walk up and accuse you soundly as if you created that and you did this to this character and I hate you for it, but I'm still buying the book because it's on my list. And all these things happen. Yes, so I'm climbing down off my soapbox now because Storm she's treated poorly. She needs her monthly book. Will she ever have a monthly book? Probably not, because the readership is too low. Hint, hint, go buy books. Please, not just the independents, the mainstream needs the love too, because that's what started it. No matter what, all the lovely independents we see, even my beloved Yumi and Ever, which I don't get any time to draw. It was Wonder Woman who started it. I looked at her on TV and said, wow, when I grow up, I want to be built like a brick shit house, just like that. I want all the hair flowing, I want everything she has. And it's from a mainstream book. And we're forgetting that, and we're starting to shrink away. So go buy books, go.
Buy independent books, buy mainstream books, but independent books, you'll find more black female characters for your daughters, sir. Next question. Hi.
Hello. That I've created myself, and I wanted to know. You guys keep saying it's like all on your own. You're all on your own, right? But really, I have these friends, right? They support me. They care about me. They say my work is awesome. It's wonderful, and I just want to know, like, you guys. You probably have some of those people in your lives, don't you? Like, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or you're highly subjective. Yes.
No, absolutely. I mean, I had my dad. I mean, he was the one who kind of encouraged me, and I would not have done it without him. And I wouldn't have gone to school for art, because who sends their black child to school for art? You know, it's like putting all that money for that, you know. But he, you know, knew that, well, I had student loans, don't get me wrong. You know, it's like, it wasn't like that. But he did set up the situation and allow me a way. So, absolutely. And good friends, absolutely. They pat you on your back. But, you know, when you have the pen, well, I still work on paper. Well, when I work, it was on paper and pencil. And you're in your room alone. You know, you are alone. You're just trying to get your stuff out. So I think that's what we were kind of alluding to. But we do have support, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, you need it. You need it, and hopefully you have a really supportive family and friends. I like to bounce ideas off of my friends for my book. And also, I've been thinking about, especially as, you know, being self-published, I've been thinking about like back in the day, hip-hop in the 90s, and how everyone used to have a crew. So I'm actually trying to build my crew right now, and they're not all, okay, we out here, okay, let's just more in the crew. I want like the video shot in the 90s where it's like hella people you don't even know who's rapping. So I have a close group of friends that, like I said, I bounce ideas off of, and some of them are sculptors, some of them are writers, some of them are into music, and again, I like to even, like what I'm doing with Volume 3, there's a mixtape in it, and it has a lot of different types of artists. We did voiceovers and things like that, but again, none of this for me would be possible without a community to bounce ideas off of and for their support. So yes, wherever she went, yes, you need a community. Okay.
Always encouraged me, and I just continued to do it. By the time I got to high school, I was in dire need of money for college, so I started writing short stories and essays in order to get to college.
The actual comic strip.
Oh, that was research. After all the other, after doing all that other stuff in order to get to college and whatnot, that was research and finding out how to write a comic book script, and constant practice of writing those scripts. And then when an artist finally gets their hands on it, then you know you've done something wonderful or bad. And then you have to start from scratch.
I wrote and drew my strip, and I am an excellent eavesdropper. I'm like, start listening to people, and you find things that are funny, and you jot them down, and you just start. Because you have for a comic strip, newspaper comic strip is a short amount of time. It's a short attention span. It's like you're just trying to get the point across really quickly. You have to be succinct about it. So I just pay attention to everything, like she was saying. Pay attention to everything. Keep your notes and practice. You know, and just you write it and then you edit it, then you edit it, and then you edit it, and then you're like, let me just get it down to where it's just making the point that I want to make, and you know, maybe make somebody smile or make somebody say, oh, yeah, right, you know. But it helps to eavesdrop. It's true.
I have a proofreader because I need one. You don't want to see my books without that. But I did really poorly in high school. I was working all the time. Grew up with a single mom, so I worked at the Burger King for 2 years and other odd jobs. So I was cutting school. I didn't want to be there. So when I realized that I was wanting to tell stories, I had to get my Borza, I had to get that dictionary, I had to read a lot. And it was the thing that I didn't do before, and now I read all the time. So read if you want to write.
You got that right.
Yeah, that's actually really great advice. In order to be a great writer, you need to read as much as possible. Like I said, my background was in academia, but in order for me to get inspiration, I get it from real life and reality. I also watch a lot of comedy, and I think about timing a lot. So yeah, that's one of the things that really helps me kind of drive the story.
Thank you.
I know y'all accomplished a lot, but are y'all willing to go outside the box and work with outsiders?
Outsiders as in
aliens? Well, the deal is I'm an up-and-coming writer myself, you know what I'm saying? I'm an up-and-coming writer myself, you know, so I was wondering if y'all, because I know most of y'all work for DC or Marvel.
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, neither do I.
I just wonder, if y'all wanted to like work with any outsiders up and coming that you help that y'all like.
Absolutely. You're interested in collaborating with somebody at some point?
Yeah, because I got a black girl character myself that I'm currently creating myself.
Well, some of us have tables outside, so after we're done, we can definitely talk.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
My question is more on the business end. I'm kind of like a buyer of content, and I always like to ask, is there anything that you would have done different on the business side? Because something that we always talk about as content buyers is a lot of times it starts with a passion with artists, and that's wonderful. But then you ask them, so what's your vision for it? And you look at you with a blank stare, and it's tough for us because it's not our work, but we're going to end up selling it to somebody else. Or, so is there anything looking back at your careers that you would say on the business side an artist should do in order to make sure that they're not just profitable, that it's not just a passion that they're doing, this is actually a sustainable lifestyle? Thank you again. You guys are awesome again.
I would say definitely a lot more marketing.
No.
I haven't marketed well, and that's one thing I wish I did. I mean, I wouldn't have to do it so much now, but no, that's not true. That's not true. I still have to do it, but I wish I did it a lot more. I wish I knew to be in people's faces, like you were saying, and tons of other things. You don't have time for that.
Writing a business plan, for me, definitely. I should have written a business plan first before I started spending all my money on artists. Anyone else? It's true. It's true. Looking back, I didn't know that I should. I'm like, oh, a business plan, yeah, that makes sense. It's like I was just out there doing it, like you're saying. You get passionate about it, you're just doing it, and somewhere in my head, thinking that I had a syndicate. Well, I don't have to think about it; they're going to handle it. But
guess what? They can mishandle it. I had stuff out there could have had, they didn't know how to distribute it. They didn't have a clue. I didn't know that I should be saying to them, maybe you should sell this in some other neighborhoods, and maybe some small stores would pick it up. There are things that I didn't get, and I let them take care of it. And, so if I were to look back and say, could you have been more, with something else, would I have done something differently? Maybe I would have known some things, looked into some things, done some research about how you get things out there. Because it's not my personality to be out there and say, so I would need somebody to do that. And I didn't think to be able to tell that person what they needed to do to help,
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Vicky. Okay, so some of us have tables out there, so if you want to come and see us later, we'll be there. In the meantime, I think there's another panel.